Chechnya is a special place in Russia. It is in the mountains. The people are called Chechens. They have their own language and culture. Most Chechens are Muslim. Chechnya is part of Russia, but it is very different from other parts. Ramzan Kadyrov is the leader of Chechnya. People sometimes call him Father of the People. He has been the leader for many years, almost 20. He has a lot of power in Chechnya. It is like he rules his own small country with great freedom. Kadyrov has his own private army. It is called the Kadyrovsi. This army is very big and strong. It has many soldiers, maybe thousands. The soldiers in the Kadyrovsi are loyal to Ramzan Kadyrov himself, not the regular Russian army or Moscow. Kadyrov uses this army to keep strong control in Chechnya. Russian federal soldiers from Moscow cannot just come into Chechnya easily. They need Kadyrov's permission first. Kadyrov has even said his army would fight Russian soldiers if they enter without his word. This shows that Kadyrov has almost complete freedom to rule Chechnya as he wants. Chechnya has its own rules, which are different from Russia. Kadyrov makes these rules. He has very strong control over the region and its people. Because of this strong personal control, the large private army, and the region's freedom from Moscow's direct rules, some people call Chechnya Europe's North Korea. This name is used to show that Chechnya is like a separate country, with a powerful personal leader and an army that follows only him. It is a very unusual place in Russia and in Europe today. 2. Old Chechnya. Chechnya is a land of mountains in a special place. It is in the North Caucasus region, where the continents of Europe and Asia meet. For hundreds of years, this area was a place where big powers met. To the south were the large Persian and Ottoman empires. To the north was the growing Russian Empire. The Chechen people lived on this land. They had their own language, culture, and traditions, different from the people in the empires around them. For a long time, the Chechen people followed different religions. They had old local beliefs and also practiced Christianity. But things changed in the late 1700s. The Russian Empire began to send its army to take control of the lands in the Caucasus Mountains. This was a long and difficult time for the people living there. The Chechen people fought hard against the Russian soldiers who were trying to conquer their land. As these wars continued over many years, more and more Chechens started to adopt Islam. In the early 1800s, following Islam became a way to show strong resistance to the Russian advance. Russia was an Orthodox Christian country, so Islam became tied to the fight for freedom and identity. Russia fought many wars to control Chechnya. These were long and brutal conflicts lasting for decades. The mountainous land made it hard for the Russian army, but they continued to fight. Eventually, After many years, the Russian Empire officially took control of Chechnya by the year 1861. However, the Chechen people did not accept Russian rule easily. They rose up in rebellion many times in the decades that followed. These uprisings showed the strong spirit of the Chechen people fighting to protect their land and their identity against powerful empires. This history of resistance is a key part of Old Chechnya. 3. Soviet times and exile. After the end of the big Russian Empire in 1917, Chechnya had a short time of independence. It joined other groups in the North Caucasus to form the Mountain Republic. Some countries, like the United States and the United Kingdom, saw this new state. But during the Russian Civil War, new Russian leaders, the Bolsheviks, took control. The Mountain Republic ended, and Chechnya became part of Soviet Russia again. It was made into an autonomous republic within the large Soviet state. Then came a very difficult time during World War II. In 1944, the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin made a terrible decision. He said, without truth, that all Chechen people helped the Nazi army. Because of this false idea, Stalin ordered something extreme. The entire Chechen population was forced to leave their homes. They were put onto trains and sent far away to Central Asia. Places like Kazakhstan became their new, difficult homes. Life there was very hard in exile camps. Many people died because of the journey and the bad conditions. Some say that 1/3 of all Chechens died. Years later, this forced movement and the deaths were called a genocide by others. Ramzan Kadyrov's father, Ahmad Kadyrov, was born during these dark years of exile. He was born in a refugee camp in Kazakhstan in 1951. Chechens had to stay in exile for 13 long years. It was not until 1957 that they were allowed to go back home. The Chechen people slowly returned to their land in the North Caucasus. Ahmad Kadyrov was a young boy, 6 years old, when he finally saw Chechnya. This time of exile, loss, and suffering left a deep mark on the Chechen people. It created strong feelings about their identity and history. 4. The fight for freedom. The Soviet Union, a very large country, came to an end in 1991. As the Soviet Union broke apart, many of its parts became independent countries. Chechnya, a region within Russia, also hoped for freedom from Moscow. In September 1991, Chechnya's leaders declared independence. This was a unilateral act, meaning they did it without Russia's agreement. At this time, Russia was dealing with many internal problems from the collapse of the Soviet Union. For a few years, Russia mostly left Chechnya alone. This gave Chechnya a short time to try and build its new country. However, neither Russia nor any other country in the world recognized Chechnya's independence as real or legal. Near the end of 1994, Russia decided to stop Chechnya's push for independence. Russia sent a large military force to invade Chechnya. This invasion started the First Chechen War. Russia expected a quick victory. They had a much larger army and better weapons than the Chechens. But the Chechen fighters, knowing their land well and fighting for freedom, put up strong resistance. The war became a brutal fight that lasted for about 20 months. It was one of the most intense wars in Europe since the Second World War. Thousands of Russian soldiers were killed. Russia used very strong military power. They dropped bombs and fired heavy artillery, destroying Chechen cities, especially the capital, Grozny. Much of the city was turned into rubble. Russian forces also used cruel tactics against the Chechen people. They set up filtration camps, which were places where they held many Chechen men, and sometimes women and children. These camps were harsh, and people were often mistreated. Russia also carried out cleansing operations. Soldiers would sweep through areas looking for fighters. In these operations, they often punished entire communities. This involved taking people hostage, stealing their property, burning houses, and killing people without trials. These actions led to a very high number of deaths among Chechen civilians. It is estimated that over 100,000 civilians died due to the military actions. This was a significant number, roughly 10% of the entire Chechen population at the time. The country was devastated. Russia could not completely defeat the Chechen fighters. The war was also unpopular in Russia because of the many soldiers who died. With low support at home and slow progress in Chechnya, Russia withdrew its troops. In August 1996, Russia and the Chechen leaders agreed to a ceasefire. This left Chechnya in a strange state. It was effectively independent, controlling its own territory, de facto independent, but no country officially said it was a state. Chechnya was free from direct Russian control for a short time, but it was left shattered by the intense fighting, the destruction of its cities, and the loss of so many lives. During this war for independence, Ahmad Kadyrov was one of the important Chechen figures. He played a role as a leader in the fight against Russia. He was the Grand Mufti, a high religious position, and was seen as a strong voice for the Chechen cause. He also had his own group of fighters during this period. 5. A new leader, a new war. After the First War, Chechnya was broken. It was not a strong country. Different groups of fighters argued and fought each other. Also, a very strong and extreme type of Islam started to grow. Fighters from other countries came to Chechnya. They were called foreign jihadists. These new foreign fighters changed the idea of the Chechen fight. Before, many Chechens fought for their country to be free. Now, many started fighting for this extreme Islam instead. This change made some Chechen leaders unhappy. Ahmad Kadyrov was an important religious leader at this time. He was a more moderate Muslim. He saw Chechnya changing and did not like it. He stopped believing in the idea of full independence in this new way. In 1999, 3 years after the First War ended, Russia started a second big fight in Chechnya. At the same time, a new leader in Russia, Vladimir Putin, became very powerful. Putin said he would win this war. The last leader had not won. Putin used new ideas to fight the war. First, he stopped most news about the war from going out. This was a media blackout. He also saw that the Chechen fighters were not all together. They had different groups and ideas. Putin used these differences. He talked to Ahmad Kadyrov and other Chechen leaders who did not like the extreme fighters. Putin convinced them to stop fighting Russia and to join his side. These Chechens agreed because they wanted to fight the extreme groups. They also wanted power in Chechnya. Russia and the Chechen fighters who joined them, including the Kadyrov group, fought hard. By the year 2000, Russia and its new Chechen friends had taken back control of Chechnya. It was the first time Russia fully controlled the area in nearly 10 years. As a reward for helping, Vladimir Putin chose Ahmad Kadyrov to be the new leader of Chechnya. This happened in the summer of 2000. Ahmad Kadyrov now worked with Russia to rule Chechnya and stop the remaining fighters. 6. The Kadyrov family rules. Ahmad Kadyrov became the leader of Chechnya. He needed help to control the region. He used the Kadyrovsi, a private army led by his son Ramzan Kadyrov. This army was important for fighting against people who still wanted independence or followed radical Islam. Russia's President Putin also liked to use the Kadyrovsi for this fight. It was better than using Russian soldiers who did not know the Chechen language or customs. By the year 2001, Russia pulled most of its soldiers out. The Kadyrovsi took over the job of fighting the insurgency. In May of 2004, Ahmad Kadyrov was killed. A bomb exploded during a celebration in the capital city, Grozny. His oldest son also died. After this, young Ramzan Kadyrov met with President Putin in Moscow. Ramzan was only 27 years old. But Chechnya's law said the leader must be 30. So Putin helped set up a temporary government. This government would rule until Ramzan was old enough. In 2007, Ramzan Kadyrov turned 30. President Putin then formally made him the new president of Chechnya. When Ramzan Kadyrov became president, he wanted to make his power strong. He started to put in place parts of traditional Islamic law, called Sharia. He banned alcohol and gambling. He said schools must teach about the Quran and Sharia law. He also ordered women to wear headscarves in public. The Kadyrovsi acted like religious police. They would stop and trouble women who did not wear a headscarf. These new laws were not as strict as before. But they did not follow Russia's laws. Russia's laws say the country is not religious. But Putin allowed Kadyrov to do this. It helped Kadyrov fight the radical groups who also used Islamic ideas. By using some Sharia rules himself, Kadyrov made the rebels' ideas less special to people. After the main fighting stopped around 2009, Kadyrov used the Kadyrovsi to stop people who did not agree with him. He went after political enemies and people who spoke against him. There were reports of bad things happening, like torture and people disappearing. A group called Human Rights Watch said these things happened very often. They said around 3,000 people disappeared between 1999 and 2017. People who wrote about problems in Chechnya also faced danger. A Russian reporter, Anna Politkovskaya, who wrote about human rights problems in Chechnya, was shot and killed in Moscow in 2006. Her death is still not solved. Other rivals and critics were also killed. In 2009, a Chechen man named Sulim Yamadayev, who led his own group and was a rival to Kadyrov, was shot in Dubai. 2 Chechen men were found guilty of the killing. Also in 2009, Omar Israilov, who was once Kadyrov's bodyguard but later spoke against him, was shot in Vienna, Austria. An Austrian court found several Chechens guilty of this murder. The police in Austria believed Kadyrov likely ordered this killing. There were rumors that Kadyrov had a list of about 300 people he wanted gone. By stopping his rivals and critics this way, Kadyrov made sure no one else could take his place easily. He gave Chechnya a kind of order and calm through strong control. He mixed old customs with being loyal to Russia. This helped keep the area stable for Putin. In return, Putin let Kadyrov rule Chechnya almost like his own land. Kadyrov could make his own rules, even if they were different from Russian laws. Putin also let Kadyrov keep his large private army, the Kadyrovsi, who were loyal only to him. This made Kadyrov very powerful in Chechnya. 7. Big money, big power. Russia sends a lot of money to Chechnya every year. These are called subsidies. Billions of dollars come from Moscow. This money is for Chechnya, but Ramzan Kadyrov and his family take much of it. This is called embezzlement. For years, Chechnya was known as a financial black hole in Russia because so much money disappeared. People believe Kadyrov is one of the richest men in the world because of this. With this money, Kadyrov lives a very rich life. He has a private jet. A Russian rapper showed pictures from Kadyrov's jet in 2017 and 2013. Kadyrov also has many expensive cars, like a Rolls-Royce and a rare Lamborghini. He has big houses in different countries, like Dubai and in Moscow. He even has a private zoo with animals that are not common. 7. Big money, big power. Russia sends a lot of money to Chechnya every year. These are called subsidies. Billions of dollars come from Moscow. This money is for Chechnya, but Ramzan Kadyrov and his family take much of it. This is called embezzlement. For years, Chechnya was known as a financial black hole in Russia because so much money disappeared. People believe Kadyrov is one of the richest men in the world because of this. With this money, Kadyrov lives a very rich life. He has a private jet. A Russian rapper showed pictures from Kadyrov's jet in 2017 and 2013. Kadyrov also has many expensive cars, like a Rolls-Royce and a rare Lamborghini. He has big houses in different countries, like Dubai and in Moscow. He even has a private zoo with animals that are not common. He likes to show his rich life on social media. He also used money to have big parties. For his 35th birthday in 2011, famous people like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Seal came. When someone asked where the money came from, Kadyrov laughed and said God gave it to him. Kadyrov also used the money to build new things in Chechnya after the wars. He built large, important buildings. In 2019, a very big mosque was finished in a town called Shali. It is called the Pride of Muslims Mosque. It can hold many people, more than 100,000 inside and outside. This is now the biggest mosque in Europe. Building this mosque helps Kadyrov show he is a strong leader for Muslims and gain support. His private army, the Kadyrovtsi, is also paid for Russian money. Putin uses this army too for special jobs. Kadyrovtsi soldiers went with Russian soldiers to fight in Georgia in 2008 and in Crimea in 2014. A very famous killing happened in 2015 that might involve the Kadyrovtsi. A Russian politician named Boris Nemtsov was killed near the Kremlin in Moscow. Nemtsov was a big critic of Putin's government and was writing a report about Russian soldiers in Ukraine. Later, a court said 5 men from Chechnya were guilty of killing him for money. Many people believe Kadyrov ordered the killing, maybe for Putin, though this is not officially proven. Kadyrov's power grew very strong in Chechnya. In 2015, he showed how much control he had. He ordered his Kadyrovtsi army to shoot at any Russian federal soldiers who came into Chechnya without his direct permission. Russia did not stop him from giving this order. This showed that Kadyrov had almost complete control of force in Chechnya, like it was his own territory, connected to Russia mainly through his personal link with Putin. In 2017, news reports came out about serious human rights problems for LGBT people in Chechnya. Reports said Kadyrov's police took over 100 gay men. They were kept in secret prisons and hurt very badly. This was called torture. Some were killed. Human Rights Watch said torture and people disappearing were systematic. A report from the Council of Europe in later years said this was the worst violence against LGBT people in Europe in decades. Kadyrov himself said publicly that there were no gay people in Chechnya. He even said if there were, their own families would kill them before his government would. Many countries around the world said these actions were very wrong. The United Kingdom had already put sanctions on Kadyrov in 2014 for supporting Russia in Ukraine. In December 2017, the United States government, under President Donald Trump, put sanctions on Kadyrov and his group. They did this because of his role in the repression, torture, and killing of LGBT people and his political enemies. But Russia still supported Kadyrov. They did not want to lose his control over Chechnya and cause problems like in the past wars. 8. The future of Chechnya. Ramzan Kadyrov has played a part in the war in Ukraine. He calls himself Putin's foot soldier. Kadyrov sent his special soldiers, the Kadyrovsi, to Ukraine. Some people call them TikTok warriors because they post many videos online. Kadyrov used strong words about the war. He even said he sent his 3 young sons, aged 14, 15, and 16, to fight. This is seen by many as a war crime. In late 2024, a passenger airplane flying to Chechnya was badly hit over Chechen land. It seems a missile hit the plane. Russia did not let the plane land, and it crashed in Kazakhstan. Many people died. Azerbaijan, where the plane came from, wanted someone punished. People believe Putin protected Kadyrov, which hurt Russia's relationship with Azerbaijan. Chechnya also made new rules about music. In spring 2024, they banned music that was too slow or too fast. The government said this was to stop Western music. Kadyrov has put many of his family members in power. He wants his sons to rule after him. His son Adam, who is still very young, has been given important jobs. There are rumors that Kadyrov is not well. If he dies, there could be a problem with who rules next, because his sons are younger than the age needed to be president by Chechen law. Chechnya's situation is closely tied to the personal link between Kadyrov and Putin. If Putin is no longer in power, the future of Chechnya is not clear. Maybe Chechnya will try to be fully independent again. Or maybe the Kadyrovsi soldiers will turn against the family if they do not get money from Russia anymore. Chechnya could become unstable like in the 1990s. Today, Chechnya is a state ruled by one family under Kadyrov. It is almost separate from the rest of Russia. People sometimes call it Europe's North Korea. What do you think will happen in Chechnya in the future?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you. Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.